Obviously, today we are primarily focused on taking Ewoyaa to production, which is absolutely what we should be doing. That's where we get most bang for our buck.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Atlantic Lithium Executive Chairman Neil Herbert. Neil, very good to speak with you this morning. Can we start off with looking at the lithium market, because prices crashed last year, which isn't good news for lithium producers at the moment. Give us your outlook for lithium as you plan to get Ewoyaa underway.
So yes, you're absolutely right, Stephen. Last year was a bad year for lithium prices. They fell again, and we've had a really immature market of this roller coaster of rising prices. And if you look around 2 years ago, prices were almost 10 times from their peak where they are today, which is quite a roller coaster indeed. I think the good news is that what we're seeing now is a lot of lithium producers are struggling. Looking into the future, you can actually see demand continuing to grow, and actually quite strongly. So if you look at from the EV side, the expectation that EV demand for lithium is going to grow 4 times by 2030, but also battery storage, which has been growing even faster, so at least 5 times growth expected. So we know that there is a real need for more lithium supply to come through and for prices to rise, so it's actually available. And in that context, our project Ewoyaa in Ghana looks particularly well set. I think we're the lowest cost producer that you can see out there at the moment. And as a result of which, when you're talking to off-takers, obviously they're looking for future sustainable supply, and they need to actually have supply for their refineries, their conversion plants in the future. So we have very active discussion with those off-takers at the moment, and they're very keen to secure supply from Ewoyaa, which has a particularly low impurity profile.
At current lithium prices, though, how do you plan to secure the best funding terms for Ewoyaa, and what kind of funding structure are you considering?
So this is very much a collective effort here. So from our side, obviously, we're looking to optimize the project, so making sure that we can absolutely ensure that we can have profitability, minimize our capex, etc. So that's an internal process we're going through. But externally, we're working with partners, obviously Piedmont, Sayona, and existing producers struggling today to produce with the current lithium prices. So we're working with them. They're part of our funding package. We also work with our largest shareholder, Assur International, which is a large African mining group, which is very experienced with the mining cycle in terms of rising prices and falling prices over time. But moreover, with off-takers. So the off-takers and the financing of the off-take is key to taking this project forward. And one of the things I think has changed over the last 18 months, Stephen, is actually the rise of the non-Chinese off-takers. So if you're looking at Europe, if you're looking at North Africa and Middle East, and you're looking at Asian partners outside of China, South Korea and Japanese, they're all coming forward. And these partners very much need to secure future off-take. So very proactive in finding ways to finance the project. So it's together with all those parties, and I would say finally with the government of Ghana. I had some very productive meetings over the last week with the new Minister for Land and Natural Resources, and indeed the CEO of the Minerals Commission. They're very keen to see this project get developed regardless of the challenging lithium price today. So they're looking how they can help us as well. So it's a collective effort, but I expect with all those parties coming together that we will secure a financing project based around offtake in the course of this year.
Neil, you now have all the key approvals to begin construction at Ewoyaa. What's the timeline for the final mining lease ratification, and how confident are you in securing it soon?
So last year we were expecting to get a ratification. We did get, as you point out, all the remaining licenses that we required. However, last year was an election year in Ghana. Parliament did not sit very often. Not much business was done. Fortunately, a new government has come in with a big majority and has set out a very full parliamentary agenda for this year, including our ratification. So as I said, I was with the minister, had several meetings with him last week, together with the CEO of the Minerals Commission. I met the finance minister recently as well. There's a lot of support for the project. It's very important to the region in which we're operating. We'll be the biggest mine. Indeed, there are no other significant mines in the region, so a significant employer and a significant generator of wealth and taxation in that area. So everybody's very keen to see that get done. I would imagine as we go into the second quarter of the year that will get done. And as I say, the government looking beyond ratification itself and seeing how they can proactively help us. I've been very encouraged by our engagement with the new government.
You've identified high feldspar content at Ewoyaa. How significant is this for the project's economics, and what role could it play in Ghana's ceramics industry?
That's a good question. In terms of the ceramics industry, very important because this is be a new source of high quality feldspar for the market. It's a significant employer already, but could be a bigger employer in Ghana and a new business sector that could be developed. So even in the Siltpon region, there was historically a ceramics factory, so perhaps a potential to reopen that ceramics factory in the future. From our perspective, it is obviously as a byproduct, it does add some economics to the project. It doesn't offer a great deal of additional value to the project itself, but it does have value in itself.
Neil, Atlantic Lithium raised 10 million Australian dollars through a share placing. How will this funding specifically help refine and optimize the project ahead of the final investment decision?
So, Stephen, we're working on two major streams as we've been discussing. The first is technical, which is optimizing the project, particularly in this price environment. How can we do things better? So the technical team is working feverishly away to achieve the best result for us, and at the same time, corporately, financially, putting together the financing package, which obviously in a low lithium price is quite complicated, but as I've already said, very doable. So as we work through those, the money we raised in the last year, more than sufficient to see us through those tasks. And looking forward to the point where we can actually make that build decision, hopefully in the third quarter of the year.
With exploration ongoing in Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, do you see potential for further resource expansion, and how might this influence your long-term growth strategy, Neil?
So we actually have a very significant exploration portfolio. Obviously, today we are primarily focused on taking Ewoyaa to production, which is absolutely what we should be doing. That's where we get most bang for our buck. So we're doing very limited exploration on our licenses in Ewoyaa. However, we've been doing early stage exploration on our large land package in Côte d'Ivoire. We're quite excited about what we're seeing so far, but it's early days, but potentially that could be a second project for us down the road. And with Ghana itself, as we progress with the project and we generate revenue, we'll be doing more exploration across our large land package, which I expect will continue to expand the life of mine, as well as potentially production on an annual basis.
Neil, I hope you'll keep us posted on progress on all those fronts. Thank you very much for the update today.
Good to see you again, Stephen.
And you. And that's Neil Herbert, the Executive Chairman of Atlantic Lithium.